Trip to California, Oregon, and California has not changed the state of play in the Senate, and it hasn't placated progressives either, who say they will hold some of the president's other priorities hostage till they get what they want. For matters like this, we bring in Pablo Manriquez, the Capitol Correspondent for Latino Rebels. Pablo, appreciate it as always. How desperate right now is the White House, and what are you hearing they're offering progressives on Capitol Hill to try to get a deal done?
It's really hard to read where the deal is right now on Capitol Hill with regards to the energy components, because obviously Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia has torpedoed the clean energy, the clean electricity part of the larger energy part of the budget reconciliation, but the House in the lower chamber went ahead and marked it up anyway. So you have a case where a very powerful senator vying for political power is saying, no, we're not going to do it. But in the House, they're like, we're just going to ignore you and move forward anyway. So it's unclear.
You've got a very powerful senator, right, in Joe Manchin. You've also got a very powerful caucus in the progressives who you cover in the House up there on Capitol Hill. How empowered are they right now?
They're very empowered. They're very empowered after the ability to force the White House's hand into extending the eviction moratorium. Now, if the eviction moratorium was a big topic to them, green energy is like the topic to them. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez obviously has her very famous Green New Deal, but this is something that I feel like is a hill for them to die on. I think that one of the things that you're going to see is they're going to start sort of painting Joe Manchin as a Exxon lobbyist in a senator's costume, which has been sort of their play so far. But it's hard to say whether or not they're, because basically, if you think about it this way, as important as Joe Manchin's vote is in the budget reconciliation, this core group of progressive House members, squad members, are just as important as Joe Manchin if you want to pass the bill. Nancy Pelosi,
if you want to pass the $1 trillion thing, something's got to give on one side. You have to have a deal. This caught the eye, certainly, of conservative media and even sort of centrist media, which was the picture of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at the Met Gala. The back of her dress says, "Tax the rich." The hypocrisy in this is a little rich, but fair, or it just doesn't matter anymore?
I don't think it matters anymore. I think that after the Trump era, I think that entertainment and politics is kind of melded. I mean, politics is sort of like the new pop culture. And I think that Alexandria Ocasio, being a New Yorker, being sort of in the center of what is both politics and pop culture and news media universe, I think that she's sort of embracing it. So I think that the one thing that, AOC and other members of Congress, other members of the federal government that want to participate in things like the Met Gala need to worry about more so than just the optics is the actual ethics. If they take hold
on. You know, hypocrisy went out in the Trump era. Ethics went out a long time ago in Washington, Pablo. You're dating yourself, my friend. Dare to dream. We got to run.
I mean the ethics committee. So she could get in trouble with the ethics committee for if she accepted gifts, whether it's a gift bag or a dress or anything like that, she could be in deep trouble. And it looks like Elise Stefanik on the Republican side of things is going to be coming after her for that.
Wow. All right. Well, when that happens, if it happens, come back and talk to us about it. All right. We'll watch your reporting.
Thank you, Leland.
Thanks. Good to see you. All right. Voters are right now at the polls in California. Today's recall election might be telling